Okay then, everybody, welcome to XLR for round 6 today. I believe it is for tier 2. It's been a while, but we are back after the Christmas break for the Spanish Grand Prix. And we got full qualifying ahead of the... I believe it's full qualifying ahead of the drivers today. And we're just waiting for the session to start. The session just underway. We're just waiting to see some on-track action. Who's going to be the first one out? That's Fuzzle, as well as is Falcon. They're the first two out on their laps. At this stage, out goes the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo on his outlap, as is the Aston Martin of Footface there, with a Haas of Kyle right behind him, and then the McLaren behind of Hartz as well. Hartz knocking his rear wheel slightly, and Kyle's got a grid penalty for collision with Footface. It's been we're a minute and a half into the session, and we've already had a grid penalty for most likely a rather minor incident. Falcon, oh! Where's he got? How has he ended up there? He's spun? That's on his outlap. He's spun, put it in the wall, and he's not setting a time in Q1. So Rocky coming out onto the track. But as we see our first lap getting underway from Hart, DRS active flat out down the long pit straight. Into turn 1 comes Hart, gets on the brakes, gets turned in, back on the power. And now coming around turn 3, completely flat out. Now as he comes down into 4, gets on the brakes, gets it turned in. Doesn't go right up to the apex, but he gets back on the power down into turn 5 now. Again, slightly wider of the apex, now back on the power, accelerating. Round 6 into turn 7. It's quite a high-speed corner. Now the quick flick round of 8. Now up the hill into turn 9. He lifts off ever so slightly and changes down a gear. Down into turn 10. Slightly more recent section, and now going around into 12, and now just a couple more corners to go until the end of the lap. And it's flat out through turn 13. Should be flat out again for 14. He slightly dabs the brake pedal. Now he's back on the power with a 13.5. Next to the line is Footface. He comes across with a 30, also with a 13.5 on the soft tyres. It's a 12.8 from Kyle. And a 12.3 for D10 on the medium tyres as well. Nemi Dodge next to the line goes into 5th with a 14.6 on the medium compound. Rolling Dice with a 13.3. Jay-Z beginning it up. Fuzzle into P3 with a 13.0. Now it's the Alpha Tauri. Oh, is that Mr. Business? No, it's not. It's Abrams up to the line. If I can find him. There he goes into P7 with a 14.5. And I believe that is Frosted Cheese just beginning a lap. Yes, it is. Now Luke the Blade in the final sector as well. Taking it flat out through that last corner up to the line. Now goes into P4 with a 13.0. Then it's the Alpine of Keyplan into P5 with a 13.3. Rocky with a 21.5. would have been a mistake on that lap. Mr. Cactus around the final corner. He's got another car ahead of him. That's a Williams. I think that's a Parra just beginning a lap. Mr. Cactus is a 29.7. Yeah, that's a Parra just beginning a lap. Jay-Z in the final corner as well. Let's see what Haas driver not using any battery on this first run. So P10 is not the most representative time. Right, and that is Frotted Chi jumping up to P2 with a 12.4. Very, very solid lap from him. It's a yellow flag in the final sector. That's its Fuzzle going slowly on an in lap. I'm not sure if anyone is on a flying lap right now. Aparo is in the middle sector. I'm not sure if anyone else is going for one at the moment. Possibly Rocky. Yes, it is. Rocky jumps up into P4 with a 1 minute 12.9. The Red Bull of... Oh, Mr. Cactus has gone out. That's the final corner. Mr. Cactus has gone off. Possibly hit the bump into the pit lane. I'm not entirely sure. Apparently now around the final corner and up to the line. Goes into P14 with a 32.7. That won't be a representative time. Jay-Z jumps up into 11th with a 13.6. Sweatback Flame Purple in the first sector. Coming around there. Is anyone else pushing? That's A-Games off the circuit at the moment. I don't think anyone's pitting. Fuzzle is pushing in the final corner now. He's 3/10 up in the middle sector. What can Fuzzle do up to the line? He comes across P3 with a 112.6. Solid lap from the Red Bull driver. Sweatback Flame also coming around the middle sector. I think that's an Alpine into the pit lane. Here comes Sweatback round the final two corners. What can he do? So he goes not quite flat out through that final corner, just keeping it within the white lines. Sweatback Flame goes into P4 with a 12.7. So I think that should be all of the first runs completed for Q1. Then there's a Williams just beginning another run. That is a Parra who's just done a 14.5. That's the McLaren of Hearts also beginning another flying run. Jamie Dodge on an outlap, just about to begin one. D10 should be coming in this lap, and that's a Ferrari behind him of Rolling Dice, who's on an outlap, just beginning one. There's a Mercedes right in front of him, going very, very slowly. I think D10 trying to give him a tow there. I'm not too sure. D10 on the racing line with DRS open, but it was out of fuel. There's another Ferrari going slowly there, just getting out of the way. Fuzzle into the pit lane. There goes the Aston Martin of Unitos just to start his first flying run of the session. Let's see what... I'm not totally sure whether Apara's on a push lap or not. He's coming into the final couple of corners. Let's see. No, he invalidates anyway, so even if he was pushing, he's not improving. Haas also into the pit lane. Jamie Dodge coming around the final sector now. Can he improve on his time? Into the final corner, taking it not quite flat out. DRS active. And up to the line, he goes into P7 with a 13.0. An improvement which should be enough to get him through. Now Unitos in the final sector. Purple in the middle sector. What can he do? Down into the last corner of turn 14. Lifts off, has a downshift now up to the line, flat out from here, goes into P4 at 112.6. A few of the drivers ahead of him are on the medium tyres. Where is that Mercedes going? I just... Now Footface is just going to be beginning a lap as well. Off goes the Aston Martin into turn 1. That's also the McLaren of Luke the Blade starting the lap as Hartz comes back out onto the racetrack. Going to be alongside his teammate, lets him go. Don't want to see any teammates making contact in qualifying. Not like we've seen that before at this circuit. Rolling dice also in. I think that's Jay-Z just beginning a lap. Yes, it is. Off he goes. Off goes the Haas driver into turn 1. Gets on the brakes and turned in. Off he goes some more. There's a yellow flag. That's A-Games who's on a push lap, I think. Has gone off. Now he's got Footface up behind him as well. That's D10 on his way into the pit lane, I believe. As you know, that's fresh. Just at this, as he was about to start a flying lap, he's gone round. And now here comes Footface around the final corner. DRS active up to the line. Goes into P11. Very solid lap with a 1:13.0. Hart's just beginning his next lap. Luke the Blade. Can he jump up the order? I don't think he could. And now it's Jay-Z, 4/10 up in the middle sector. Around he comes into around turn 12 now, down towards 13. Here he comes flat out from here, pretty much. Possibly a bit of a lift for the last corner. It's quite a big lift actually there for Jay-Z. That would have cost him some time. Up to the line he goes, P5 with a 12.6. And now it's Mr. Business just starting it up, I think. Or maybe he just come to the end of one. Yeah, he's just come to the end of one. I don't think he improved. We can just have a look here. Oh, he just set his first lap. Aparo is just beginning a run as well. A-Games in the final corner. Is up on his time. Is it enough to improve? Get him out of the bottom 5. Up the line. No, it's not as he backs off. He's a 10th down. That's the flag on the straight. Footface getting out of the way. Here comes Hart. 6/10 up at the moment. Gets him nice and comfortably away from that drop zone. With a 1:12.8. And now it's the Mercedes of Fresh in the final corner. I think he's just beginning a time. Or beginning a lap. That wouldn't have been his most competitive time. That's Kyle around the final corner. With a 1:12.3, fastest of all. In this Q1 session. It's a very nice lap from Kyle then. Mr. Business coming into the pit lane. And Aparo too, a second up in the first 2 sectors. Let's see, chucks it into the final corner. Don't want to be too committed, but now he's back. DRS active on the power at 1:12.8. Gets him into P11, but he's not that far above the drop zone. And Aparo with a 12.8, the cut-off point at the moment is a 13.3. So he's only half a second above the drop zone, which I think some of these drivers down there do have in their laps. Particularly this man, Fresh. He definitely has the time to improve. Into the final corner, he comes into pit lane though, and he goes into the wall in the pits. He's fortunate that he's still going. And here comes the McLaren of Hearts. He's also fortunate he's not being done for blocking the pits. Carl staying out again. Not quite sure why I'd do that. Power coming around the middle sector. He should be into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Yeah, in he comes. Fuzzle retires from P5. That is a fair assessment. Hearts retires in P10. That's a slightly more bold one, but with the cut-off point at a 13.3, he's only half a second. I don't know, he should be safe, but you can never quite tell. That is key playing, I think, just starting the lap. Yes, it is into turn 1. Getting it chucked through. Chucking the car in through 3, down towards turn 4. On the brakes, gets it rotated. Back on the power again, going down towards turn 5. The crest downhill again, round 5 now. And down the hill a bit more. Into 6. Quick flick to the left and back up again, but he goes round. And that is possibly his last effort. Unless he can... Now, he should have enough time, assuming he doesn't have any damage. Although he's missing an end plate, so I think that is keeping out of the session. I doubt with a missing front wing he'll be able to do that much. Like, with a missing end plate, I don't think he'll be able to find the time needed. Particularly not the 3/10 that he needs. There's a Mercedes that is fresh, going slowly. Untos up to the line. Can he improve a tiny bit, but it's not enough to gain him any positions. Keeblan comes in. He is out of the session in P16. 16th at best he'll qualify. Fresh still needs a lap. He really does have the pace. Like, he's off the pace to get into Q3 easily. He just hasn't been able to string a lap together yet. Luke the Blade gets himself out of the drop zone into P2. Nice and far from that danger zone. There's it. There's the yellow flag. That's now for a Merrill. That's Jamie Dodge. He's going slowly. He doesn't have damage. He can probably still go for a lap. But he's also very close to the drop zone. The championship leader is incredibly tight. And next, it's Sweatback Flame in the last corner. Goes to the top of the timing sheets with a 1:11.9. And that is Mr. Business just beginning a lap. I believe, yes, it is. Now, is that foot face coming in to the end of the lap? No, it's not. It's Unatos on his way in. And now it's A-Games. Can he get himself out of the bottom 5? No, he can't. Not on this lap, but he's going for another one, I think. He won't get out with this lap, but I think he's just beginning another one. Now, Fresh up to the line, gets into P12. But only P12, that's not safe. It should be enough. But I wouldn't feel comfortable in that situation. Kyle coming to the line again. And now it is, look, the Blade on his way in. That's Jamie Dodd, the championship leader, having abandoned its lap. Footface is invalidated though. So it's all down to A-Games whether the championship leader could be out here. If A-Games can find the time. Admittedly, it is a 1.5 seconds that he needs to find. But if he finds the time, if he finds the time that he needs, we could see the championship leader out. He's 9/10 up. If he finds just half a second in this final sector, then we will see the championship leader knocked out in Q1. Goes right up to the curb. But it comes down all to this final couple of corners. Got DRS active. Is it enough? No, it's not. He finds 8/10 in the end. He ends up losing time in the final sector. And it's not enough to knock out Jamie Dodge. I genuinely thought, like, he might be out there. That was a lot closer than it needed to be. Right, so Sweatback Flame top off the session by a 10.5 or so over Mr. Business, who's 2/10 ahead of Kyle. But Kyle, with that 5-place grid penalty for a bit of contact with Footface on their outlaps, but then knocked out is Footface, Keyplank, A-Games, Mr. Cactus, and Falcon.
Ferrari are one of the most successful constructors in Spain, with wins into the double digits. Pastor Maldonado's 2012 win unfortunately turned out to be his only podium in the sport. However,
Right, Q2 is underway. We've got the McLaren of Hearts, I believe that is, leading them away. Yes, it is. And he's got D10 and the Red Bull of Fuzzle up behind him. D10 on his way out, then it's Fuzzle. Jeremy Dodge on his way out the pits as well. Most cars coming out quite early here. So as Hearts leads them away then, he's got quite the advantage to D10 behind. I'm acting like it's a race. Fuzzle, interestingly, as with Jay-Z and Kyle, has gone out on the medium tyres. So they're going to have to find a bit more time compared to the others on the softs. But then if they get it right, they might save just that extra soft set for Q3 or possibly the race. And off goes D10 and Hart on their first flying rounds on board with the McLaren driver coming round 3 flat out. Now on the brakes into 4. Does he get it turned in? Yes, he does. Gets back on the power again. And to get it on the power as early as you can there. And now back on the brakes, getting it turned in. Flat out again down towards turn 6 and 7. She goes down into 6. Quite a quick corner of turn 7. Don't want to take too much curb or you may see your car in the barriers. Now around into turn 9. Flat out up the hill. DRS active now for the McLaren driver coming into towards turn 10. In yet another hairpin on this circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya. And going right up to the white lines. Now getting it rotated round 12. Back on the power again he goes into the fast end to the lap now. The clunky chicane is gone. A bit of braking round 14 for Hearts, but he goes back on the power up to the line. It's 13-0 for Hearts, and for D10 comes across for an 11.6. It's a 1.4 second deficit that Hearts will have to find later in the session if he wants to top D10. Now Fuzzle does a 12.9, and now it's Rocky next up with a 13.2. He only managed a 13.2. Now Jamie Dodge with a 13.1, and Luke the Blade with a 1 minute 12.2. No one else can get into the 111s here. Kyle and Untos also just finishing laps. Now it's the Ferrari of Sweatback Flame with a 12.0. Now it's rolling dice with a 12.1. Now Fresh with a 1 minute 12.3. Still no one else able to find the 1 minute 11s. So D10's first run is 4/10 faster than anyone else's. That's a good lap. Let's see if that will stand for the rest of the session. Because quite possibly it will. D10's doing his traditional chicane. Because he feels like it. Because why not? I think now just everyone's going to be back into the pit lane, although out goes the Williams of Frosted Cheese. Mr. Business is also on his way out, but he's just not had, still on the cutscene waiting for an opportunity to get his car out. With all the other cars on their way in, off he goes to the end of the pit lane where he drives out. Jay-Z and Kyle having to wait for each other. It's not letting me go off Jay-Z. Okay. So Fuzzle's going again on his medium compound. D10 did that on a scrub set too. That's crazy. So Fuzzle's still on a lap. So Fuzzle could be improving and hit into 14. And up the line goes. Fuzzle improves by 1/10.5. It's not quite enough. So now it's Frosted Cheese next on the lap with a purple first sector of 21.6. Now he comes around down towards turn 5 on the race, gets it turned in, gets back on the power as soon as he can. No too much sliding off the rear. Now up into 7 and 8, taking a lot of curb on 8, which puts him on the curb there again on the exit. He's fortunate not to end up picking up a lap invalidation. And it's the 51-1 in the middle sector. This could be a very promising lap from Frosted Cheese. Now coming around turn 12. Just 2 more corners to go for the Williams driver. Can he get this to the top of the timing sheets? Or hopefully at least for him, outside that bottom 5. Now back on the power again. He goes into P6. It's not quite the lap he possibly would have been hoping for, but it is still a solid lap that should see him through. We'll probably have to go again though, so it won't be quite comfortable. Mr. Business has abandoned his lap. I think Fuzzle is on his way in. Yes, he is. Here goes Kyle on his second run. He chucks his car through the first couple of corners. Well, I think Jamie Dodge is also on the lap. Yes, he is in the final corner on the power. Up the line he goes. He goes into P8 with a 12.8. 2.5 improvement. But he's still scarily close to that bottom 5. D10 retires from the session. Fair enough. That is Rocky. 7/10 up in the middle sector. I'd see him around a 12.5 to put him just ahead of Frosted Cheese. Being 3 blue teams in a row up the line. He puts it ahead of Fresh as well with a 12.2. Almost said 22.2, which would not be a very good lap. Wouldn't be a good one at all. Now Kyle across the line goes into P7. Half a second improvement into a 12.3. Very solid lap for the Haas driver, but Mr. Business comes in off his lap. Hart's round the final corner on the power. DRS active. Up the line he goes into P9 with a 12.7. Still scarily close to the drop zone. Now next up it's Jamie Dodge into the pit lane. It's Rocky on an in lap. I don't think we currently have anyone pushing on the circuit. No, we don't. Assuming everyone who's just completed a lap is on an in lap. Or at least a cool down lap. There's a yellow flag there for Jay-Z going very wide for an out lap. He invalidates this lap. Whatever is he gonna do? Alright, who is on the track at the moment? Jay-Z's off into the gravel now. Gravel on the tyres won't be ideal. Looks like someone's just beginning a lap. That is Fuzzle. Off he goes for his first soft run of the session. Goes into turn 1. There's a car coming out of the pits ahead of him. That's an AlphaTauri of Mr. Business. He's going to hope the AlphaTauri gets out of his way nicely. Coming around turn 3. This is not the best place to catch a back marker, but Mr. Business does get out of the way for him. Now into turn 4. He's 2/10 up in the first sector. So clearly not influenced too much by that AlphaTauri ahead of him. Round 5 back on the power towards 6. And now into the quick left-hander of turn 7. Back on the throttle again. Round 8. And now through turn 9. Pretty much flat to the floor. DRS active. There's a Mercedes going slowly ahead of him. Now on the brakes. Getting it turned in. It's a half a second improvement in the first 2 seconds. Fuddley gets a bit loose on the rear. Coming around turn 10. That won't be ideal for him. But with a half second improvement, that would see him around P4. And now back on the power again with DRS active. Up to the line. He goes into P4 with a 5/10 improvement, putting him to a 22.2. No, sorry, a 12.2. I've done it again. 12.2 to 8. The Williams going very wide there. There's also a Williams off. And he's got himself beached. Now Jamie Dodge on the power as well. And that is Unitos in the final corner. Where will the Aston Martin driver put his car? He jumps up by 6/10 only into P8 though. So that won't be a particularly safe time. And with only 2 minutes in the session, he won't get another stint. He might have the chance to cool down and go again. But he won't get any fresh tyres here. Fresh is, speaking of Fresh in the Mercedes has spun around. He's beached on the curbs there. He gets going again. Oh! Luckily, Sweatback Flame was on an outlap there. But that could have been close with Fresh. Mr. Business jumps up into P3. That drops Unitos down to P9. And Frosted Cheese into the drop zone. Frosted Cheese is, thankfully for him, about to come out for a lap. He needs to get out pretty soon. With only 1:12 to go. Jamie Dodge has improved, but it's not enough to get him outside the drop zone. Let's hope for his sake he has enough fuel to cool down and go again. If he doesn't, then the championship leader will be out in Q2. There's an improvement there from, I think that was from Aparo getting himself into P13. Yes, it was. He's in the same situation. And there goes Hart into turn 1. He also needs a flying lap, although he goes round into the barriers. And that is him out in Q2. He needed a lap. He couldn't get a lap. Spun into the wall. And that is Hart out in Q2. Because he won't be able to improve with that damage. Sweatback Flames invalidated. He's not going to improve, although he's P2, so he shouldn't need that lap anyway. Alright, who else do we see on the circuit? That's the Mercedes of Fresh coming into the final corner to begin his final lap. Mr. Business on his way in. Fuzzle retires. And now that's Frosted Cheese in the final sector. There's only 12 seconds to go. I don't think Aparo's going to make it to the line. There's not long to go at all. With Jay-Z going that slowly, Jay-Z will be out. And the checker flag's fallen. Both have to... Kyle just takes off into the sky. Unos needs this lap if he wants to get out. He most likely needs this lap if he wants to get through into the final part of qualifying up the line. He runs out of fuel in this lap. He still improves, but he can't gain nearly as much time as he had hoped. Fresh also has run out of fuel in this lap, so Fresh is out. Kyle's got another grid penalty. Jay-Z's been disqualified as well. What is going on with the game here? Now, Jamie Dodge needs this lap. Frosted Cheese also needs this lap. Jay-Z's been disqualified in P15, so that bumps a load of these guys out of place. Jamie Dodge is down on his time, so I think he's going to be out in Q2 here. Now, all eyes on Frosted Cheese with the most poles in the tier last season. Is it enough to get him through? Yes, it is just about. Scrapes through in P10. That is your Q2 order. D10 top from Sweatback Flame, Mr. Business, and Rolling Dice. And then knocked out is Kyle, Jamie Dodge, Aparo, Hart, and Jay-Z.
MotoGP Championship, known as the Catalan Grand Prix.
And we are back for the final part of qualifying then. Got to say, at the moment, my favourite for pole is most likely D10 with the way he's been going. But we will just have to see. D10 on his way out as well. If he did that time with... If he did an 11.6 on a scrub set, I'm scared to see what he can do on a fresh. That would be quite scary. Sweatback Flame is your first driver out on the track, then followed by, I think it's D10, and then Fresh, followed by Mr. Business as well. Right, so just a few cars on their outlaps, no flyers yet, but Sweatback Flame will be the first to begin one. Now Sweatback around the final corner to begin what will be his first run of the session. Let's see. In this final Q3 shootout to set the order for the top 10 for the race start. Sweatback Flame coming around turn 3 on the power again down towards 4. On the brakes, getting it turned in, back on the power again. Now down the hill again into turn 5, getting it rotated in the second of many hairpins on the track. And that is Fresh off at 3. Fresh has gone off at turn 3, so his lap will not be completed. Sweatback Flame now gets a massive tow from his teammate Rolling Dice. Going all the way down the straight, puts out the way. Now round this turn 10 hairpin again, back on the power. Now run yet another hairpin of 12, and he gets back on the power again for basically the rest of the lap. So now he chucks it into the final corner on the power. DRS active up to the line. Goes Sweatback Flame with a 1:11.5. D10 behind him can only manage to do a 1:11.8, which is slower than his Q2 time. Mr. Business next up to the line. He can only manage a 1:12.4. The blade starts his flying lap. Fuzzle next. To cross the line, what can he do in the Red Bull? He goes into P3 with a 1:12.1. And he's Fresh with a 31.9. Not the most competitive time you'll see today. Untos back on the power again. He's only got a few more corners to go. It's a 51.3 in the middle sector. Untos on his shoulder cam with his black and green helmet. It's just 2 more corners to go for him. And now back on the power again. Can the Aston Martin get himself into the top 3? No, he can't. He goes P5 with a 1:12.8. 4/10 behind Mr. Business. Rolling Dice next to the line. Can he get himself ahead? Yes, he can. Into P4 to 1:12.2 for the Ferrari driver. And now Fresh is... No, that is D10. Early the blade has invalidated his time. He will not be completing that lap. So it is Fresh who's the furthest around a time. Further around the lap on a flyer at this stage. Fresh, although he is not pushing, he is into the pit lane. In comes Fresh. Rocky just about to begin his first flyer of the session. And now off he goes to start his first run of the session into turn 1. Comes the Alpine driver, gets on the brakes, gets it turned in. Now back on the power again, on board with the Alpine driver coming around turn 3. Now back on the power again. On the brakes, gets it turned in. 21.7 in the first sector. back on the power down towards turn 5. Gets it stopped and turned in again with quite a late apex there for the upping driver. But here he comes into turn 7. Don't want to take too much of that inside curb, or otherwise you will see yourself in that barrier. Now around turn 9 with DRS active again. Into turn 10, it's a 50.8 in the middle sector. Gets it rotated on the throttle again. Just a few more corners to go now. Down towards turn 13 and down the hill into 14. Here comes Rocky up to the line. He goes right the way up to the curb. DRS active. It's a 12.222. And that puts him into P5. Right, I think the next lap we'll see will be from Frosted Cheese. And off goes the Williams driver to start his first run as well. Now into turn 1, gets stopped. Back on the power again. So I think Frosted Cheese at this stage is just trying to get a bank lap on the board. Or a 21.5 in the first sector is very solid. He goes round 5 again. Getting all around this start of this middle sector. Now back on the power again, up towards turn 9. He chucks in, gets back on the throttle again. DRS active. Now on the brakes and turned in. And this is looking like a really spicy lap from Frosted Cheese here. Although possibly that could be down to the way the game works with purple sectors in spectator mode. D10 sets up the fastest time so far. Goes on the provisional pole with a 1:11.4. Frosted Cheese can get within 2/10 of that with a 11.6. It's a very strong lap for D10. Although Sweatback Flames 11.5 could be nearly enough to top that. Fuzzle as well, just beginning, or probably just finishing a lap. Unotosh is beginning one. With 3 minutes to go in the session. Rolling Dice, Rocky and Sweatback are still in the pit lane. D10 doesn't have the fuel to go again. So he's on his way in. Now I want to know if there's any chance of Giannuzzi making it in the next 3 minutes. Because I'd quite like to not be lonely. Not being lonely is generally a good thing. Oh, D10's gone into the barriers. And he's being disqualified for going the wrong way. Wait! D10's been disqualified for going the wrong way? That's going to remove his pole lap. D10 has hit the wall, tried to reverse back to the pits, and now it's been taken off provisional pole. Oh dear. That's probably not the smartest thing he's ever done. Here goes Mr. Bits. It's into P2 with 1:11.5. He should also have the chance to go again. Sweatback Flame just going out. Our current provisional pole sitter. Fuzz also waiting to come out. I think Unitas is on a cooldown lap at the moment. I'm going to have to... Feels so weird not seeing the purple at the top, because the fastest lap is from D10. Right, Unitas down into the last couple of corners as well. They're all looking like they're just about to begin some times. Fresh in the middle sector as well. He's on what probably will be his final flying run of the session. Can he get himself into the top 5 here? For the starting grid, Giannuzzi joins the lobby. So that's always a good sign. Here comes Fresh into the final couple of corners. Just 2 more to go. Flat out through the final corner for Fresh. Can he get himself into the top 5 here? Up the line. He goes to provisional pole with a 1:11.4. Wow. He's really been holding back this entire session then, by the looks of things. He's been, like, for the entire 3 qualifying sessions, it's not looked like he's had that much pace in him. And then out of nowhere, he just goes and sticks on a provisional pole. That's a very good lap from Fresh. Frosted Cheese retires from the session, not able to go out for another run. Sweatback Flame now will be wanting his provisional pole lap back. He wants that P1 position coming into turn 4. He's about half a tenth up. He's gone very deep into turn 4 though. That could cost him, and he backs off. Sweatback Flame will not be improving. Fuzzle is even less up in that first sector. Fuzzle needs a really strong end to his lap if he wants to gain any positions. So all the cars ahead of him aren't improving. Unitas jumps up into P5. Fuzzle goes round though. Fuzzle's not going to be improving either. So Fuzzle's gone round. Now the rolling dice is the last one on a competitive lap, and he's backed off as well. 7/10 down. So ultimately, next to no one has completed a final flying run. So it will be Fresh starting the race from pole position, with Sweatback Flame on the front row and Mr. Business and Frosted Cheese behind them. Unitas in 5th, Luke the Blade, followed by Luke the Blade, Fuzzle, Rolling Dice, Rocky, and D10.
Yeah, hello. I don't just testing.
Yeah, no, you're here. We hear you.
Sound. Is that another Polish driver on pole position?
No, that's Indonesian,
Oh,
unfortunately. Oh, it might be. I think it's Indonesia. It might be Monaco. No, Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah.
Just had to check his super license. I'm pretty sure we have a Haas back row as well, despite them both getting into Q2.
Nice.
They both got into Q2, but they're both starting on the back row.
How on earth have they done that?
They made contact with each other and both got grid penalties.
Oh no. Oh, for goodness
So,
sake.
Kyle got one in Q1 because he went into the back of Footface on the outlaps, and then he got 2 in Q2. One because he hit a braking marker, which launched him launched his rear wheels parallel with the ground, and then Jay-Z made contact with him, and they both got grid penalties for that. And then he made contact with Hearts when neither of them were on flying laps. Like they were both backing off. Neither were gonna get another lap in. Like the checkered flag had fallen at that point, and then they both. And then Carl got a grid penalty. So all in all, wasn't the
very fun.
Wasn't the best for Haas then. Yeah, it is a Haas back row. Carl 20th, Jay-Z 19th. Wow.
Oh well.
That's honestly really funny. Like Carl's rears just took off into the sky. You'll need to find it on the VOD one. Oh, I'll have to show you
Yeah.
the clip on the VOD once the stream's done.
What's the weather looking like? Is it,
All dry, I
rainy?
think.
All dry.
That's what Footface said in Q1 at least. How many laps? It's 66 in. Oh, okay. He deleted the message.
It's
It's
32, I think it
I
is.
think
or
I think
33.
it's at 33 because it's 66 in the real race according to. Although actually that's before the change in the last corner, so it might be
Yeah.
32 now because it's a bit shorter of a lap. So
Yeah,
well, that'd mean
it
it'd be
all
one.
varies, doesn't it? Yeah.
that'd
It
mean
wouldn't
it'd
be
a
that
bit
much though,
longer.
wouldn't it?
No, it'd be
Wouldn't be
one.
that much.
It would be one lap difference most likely. Like the change in the last sector would probably only change 1 or 2 laps. Right. I mean, the Singapore layout I think only added 1 lap on.
That's right, yeah.
There's a surprising number of laps at Singapore, considering how
It's long, isn't it?
yeah,
Really
it's
long.
well, it's not that bad. It's 1 minute 30 or so, but there's quite a few laps considering.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand though. About I understand everything adds up to the same amount of kilometers, but it's just with Singapore, I just don't understand how it works. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Monaco takes ages because there's a load of because it's a short but slow
It's
lap.
70 laps though. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
short.
it's a short but slow lap, but then the race takes 45 minutes in 50%. Alright.
What time is it? 27.
Yeah, we've got less than a minute now.
Happy days.
Have you seen Om's amazing setup?
I saw a preview of it.
Yeah,
I won't lie.
he's on his mum's bed with a laptop connected to a monitor.
He's on his what? His mum's bed.
Yes. Because
Oh, God, I need to see this.
his room is being renovated apparently.
I mean, if it's an upgrade,
Unfortunately, it's not
it's an
racing.
upgrade.
Okay, here we go. Just to the beginning of the formation lap, then. Lots of variation in strategy across the board. I mean, it's fresh going for the hard tyres. And then from pole position, then Sweatback Flame P2 on the mediums. Mr. Business on the softs, aiming for a good start. Frosted Cheese on mediums. Untos also going for the softs. Then Luke the Blade on mediums. Fuzzle on hards. Rolling Dice and Rocky on mediums. D10 on hards. Jammy, Dodge, Aparo and hards all with the mediums. Footface on the hards. Keepang on the mediums. A-Games on the hards. Mr. Cactus and Falcon on both on the softs. And Jay-Z and Kyle both on the mediums. There's a lot of variation there.
I think it's all gonna. Let's just see how it plays out. Really,
I think it's gonna
some of these
be.
soft runners-
I think it's gonna be soft, medium. If they stretch out the softs, possibly medium soft. But then it's most likely gonna be hard, medium, medium hard. But if they stretch out the stints a bit longer, they might be able to go medium soft or soft medium.
Yeah, a soft to hard is realistic.
Yeah, as
However,
well.
You'd have to pit very, very much more earlier than the medium runners.
Frosted Cheese's ping is making him some form of connection when he's warming up his tires. He's just teleporting from one
Yeah.
end of the track to the other.
He was really aggressive warming up his tires in Brazil. This was before the Christmas break, and he went so hard that he went sideways and went onto the grass.
Yeah, that's believable. Hearts have made contact with someone, I think.
He's either done that, or he's either gone into a wall.
Possibly. Oh, A-Games
Oh,
and Mr. Cactus
two
have
more.
made contact as well.
Oh, interesting.
Oh dear. Oh,
Oh,
that's fresh. Fresh side. Where is he going?
Oh no, he could get himself disqualified
No,
if he doesn't hurry up.
you don't after the point where it after the point where it goes to once it gets the reforming grid phase. I don't think you can be disqualified for being too slow anymore. Look, the blades missed a spot.
Tires though.
I mean, he's on hard, so it won't be that cooked. It'll mainly just be gravel on them. So once we wait for Jay-Z and Carl to form up, we will be underway for the Spanish Grand Prix. So
Where's the 5 red lights? Oh yeah, I can't see them.
No, it's taking a while.
Oh, there you go.
Here we go. The 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go. And Swearback Flame seems to have got the better jump there, but Fresh has enough to keep him covered into turn 1. So, this angle is absolutely rubbish. Mr. Business had an absolutely crazy start on those soft tyres. He's got himself up into second place, challenging for the lead. Unitos as well on the softs, having a good start. But ultimately, it does stay the same with the top 2. Here comes Sweatback Flame into turn 4. They're going to be side by side for the race lead. Into turn 4, it's side by side. It's so close. Sweatback Flame on the medium tyres, using them to good advantage to get ahead into the race lead then. Mr. Business on the soft also had a look, but he doesn't have enough at this stage to get past Fresh. Although I think he will before too long. But Sweatback Flame's going very slowly. I'm not entirely sure why, but he's simply let Fresh back through. There's a yellow flag. Hearts has gone round. That's at turn 8. But Fresh goes back into the race lead then from Sweatback Flame and Mr. Business. Fuzzle gets ahead of Frosted Cheese in the background as well. And now Frosted Cheese is side by side with Rolling Dice, and that's a ping issue for Mr. Business, I think.
No, was that Ferrari?
Yeah, that's Mr. Business. That was a ping issue. Like with his internet. I'm not sure.
I can't even get my words out. Rolling Dice went really wide.
Here comes Sweatback Flame as well into turn 1. He's going to pull to the inside line on Fresh again. He's trying to go for the move again. This time he does get the move done. And Sweatback Flame through turn 1 gets himself up into the race lead on lap 2. Now Mr. Business will be chasing Fresh down to try and do the same. Is he going to go to the inside into turn 4? He doesn't have quite enough of an advantage to do so. Jamie George gets ahead of Carl in the background as well. Mr. Business doesn't quite have the pace to go for a move yet, but he does look like he will be going for one soon. Fresh is just sitting behind Sweatback for the time being. So they all chuck their way up the hill of turn 9. Card had a really good start actually to get himself up into P12. And
Very good start.
Rolling Dice taking the old layout at turn 9. Like taking the old chicane. Not entirely sure why. Possibly just went a bit wide and thought it was better than getting gravel on the tyres. Jay-Z around the outside of foot face there. Round turn 12 that is. That's someone's round.
Mr. Cactus is round.
Mr. Cactus goes round then. Sweatback Flame with the fastest lap of the race. Mr. Business closing in on Fresh as well. There's not enough to make a move into turn 1. But he might be having a look at one into turn 4 yet again. He doesn't quite have the pace at this stage. But with Fresh pulling away slightly, but Mr. Business deploys the DRS and now he pulls alongside the Mercedes, going to be side by side into turn 4 and make a little bit of contact. Mr. Business gets half spun around now. Unitos trying to go around the outside into turn 5. They're going to be wheel to wheel the AlphaTauri and the Aston Martin. They're still side by side in turn 7. Mr. Business has to concede the place. And Fresh somehow remains in P2. Unitos will have the DRS on him this time around. But Fresh also has the DRS on Sweatback Flame. But he can't make any moves at this stage. There's a bit of position changing in the background as well. Unitos will be looking to get past Fresh as soon as he can, but doesn't want to suffer the same fate as Mr. Business.
Kyle got ahead of Rolling Dice Fast for P11.
And Fresh just about stays within the DRS range of Sweatback Flame, but Unitos is a lot quicker on the straight line.
No,
Pulls to an inside. No, he does. On my screen, it showed he had it enabled. But I'm not sure. But Mr. Business has gone round a turn 2 into the gravel trap. And that is tumbling him down the order. He's dropped down to P15. as Unitos pulls past Fresh. Now, and Fuzzle's dropping back on Fresh is dropping back as well. Possibly the hard tyres not working too well then. The D10 is able to stay with Luke the Blade on the white wall tyre, so maybe it's just an issue with getting them up to temperature. Frosted Cheese and Fuzzle looking to go wheel to wheel before too long. Fuzzle doesn't have DRS, but Frosted Cheese doesn't quite have the straight line speed to go for a move into turn 10. Luke the Blade looks like he's lining up a move on the Williams driver as well before too long. Fresh will get DRS back on Unitos this time around, but it won't be enough to make any moves at this stage. Fuzzle did go for a move on Frosted Cheese. There's a yellow flag towards the back. I think that's from Mr. Cactus going slowly. Does Luke the Blade have enough to pull ahead of... Luke the Blade does not quite have the straight line speed that he needs to pull ahead of Frosted Cheese. But Frosted looks like he's going to be going for a move on Fuzzle before too long. He's got the speed. Is he pulled to the outside? Does he brake late enough? No, he doesn't. He goes for a switchback round turn 4. Doesn't look to be quite enough. Is he going to go for it into 5? He has to back out for now. But with this pace, he will be ahead before too long, you'd imagine. Possibly into turn 10. He's got DRS enabled now. Does Frosted Cheese. He pulls to the outside of Fuzzle. Side by side. Round turn 10. He goes pushed right up the edge of the track. But Fuzzle leaves just about enough space. And he defends that very well from the Williams driver.
Yeah, good racing day from the lads.
Yes. Jay-Z and Mr. Business side by side. Jay-Z gets himself back ahead. Sweatback Flames now being caught by Unitos here as well. Sweatback was pulling away earlier in the race as Luke the Blade goes past Fuzzle up to P5. And now Frosted Cheese as well. So now D10's going to look to get past the Red Bull as well. So they're all swarming on Fuzzle at this stage. Well, we got Sweatback out front from Unitos and Fresh. Fresh staying in Unitos' DRS range, despite the tyre disadvantage. It's been a solid drive from Fresh so far, despite seeming being it seems he's a bit slower on a straight line.
I think he just has to be careful though, doesn't he? Just needs to make sure he just stays in DRS, because I think if you want to hard tyres, you are expected to lose positions, but Fresh has done a superb job.
Yeah, for sure. The yellow flag, yeah, that's Mr. Cactus off at turn 7. But now D10 pulls to the inside of Fuzzle. Is he going to go for the move down the straight? D10 just about gets himself ahead. And now, is he going to go for it on Frosted Cheese as well? Also on the inside, pulls off a double into turn 1. There's side by side, there's a bit of contact between the two of them. And that's Frosted Cheese going spearing off into the gravel trap after contact with D10, which has sent him off. He rejoins the track all the way down in P16. Looked like it'd been a really nice move from D10 until they did come to contact.
I'm not too sure what happened there, because it looked like
that was contact.
D10, yeah, he did give enough space, but we'll have to have a look back on it to see if any reports do come in.
We will have to look at that at a later stage. Mr. Cactus is off again.
And he's going to get lapped soon as well.
Yeah, he's got to get off those tyres, I think.
Yeah, they're not working out for him.
I think it's temperatures that's causing him to go around so often. Although he doesn't come in.
Someone gone off. Is that Mr. Business gone off?
Possibly. Luke the Blade goes swooping around the outside of D10. Round the penultimate corner. But now D10 gets the DRS on the McLaren driver. Pulls straight back past him. And up into P4. Now Unitos and Fresh are side by side again. Fresh getting the move back again. Even though he's on the slower, harder tyres, he gets himself back up into second place. Mr. Business does come in, so possibly it was him that we saw in some form of incident. It's not been the greatest of races for Red Bull powered cars so far. Fuzzle in P6 losing quite a few positions. A-Game's down in P16. And then Mr. Business 18th in the pit lane. And Mr. Cactus dead last and a lap down to the leaders.
I wonder if those softs are going off now.
Yeah,
7 laps.
it does appear to be.
Unitos maybe struggling a little bit.
But also I think Fresh's hards are coming into their
They're
optimal
kicking
sort of
in,
window.
aren't they? Yeah, they're kicking in really well now, and he's getting a few temps on Sweatback as we speak. Not quite
This-
into DRS, but
Yeah, I think
it's
Unitos
getting
might
there.
pull back past him
oh,
here.
he goes wide. Goes a bit wide though.
Unitos does look like he's going to pull back past him. No, he doesn't quite have enough. Backs off before the end of the straight.
Yeah, Kyle up into P8. Nice move ahead of the Paro.
Yeah. There's someone else
Good
off as
recovery.
well. It's not... There's 2 yellow flags. That's A-Game's off the final
that-
corner with a
yeah.
missing end plate.
That's-
He's been in the wall. You can see it just on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Now on the left, just by that DRS marker.
Oh, and Cactus has gone
Yeah,
again.
Mr. Cactus has gone off again. Oh, he's beached on the... He's beached.
Oh yeah, he's going to get himself disqualified if he
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if he
can
knows to.
reset the track.
Yeah, if you're
without
just
people-
no, it's too
yeah.
late. He's been disqualified. I don't think he knows to. The pole time is an 11.4, I think. I think that was the pole time. Mr. Cats has got stuck on the curb and couldn't move. Now Fresh, he's 1.2 behind Sweatback this time around. That gap opens up to 1.3. He doesn't quite have enough to get in that DRS range. I think it's more that the softs are going off rather than the HUD coming into a window.
Close. Look how close the gap. Well.
Yeah, here comes
people-
DE10.
DE10 behind. Yeah, they've
Yeah,
gained
just
a lot on-
Unitos with the DRS is already helping him. But Fresh has got out of shape into turn 1. Unitos in a Mercedes sandwich here. Will D10 be able to pull to the inside? He goes to the inside of Unitos. It's side by side into turn 4. It's so close to contact. They just about managed to avoid it into turn 5. They're still side by side. D10 just edging his way ahead. Just
Yeah, nice
barely.
move.
That
Lovely
is a
move, though.
good move. And now the 2 Mercedes cars are sharing the same piece of racetrack. Possibly swapping the cars here. Because D10 does seem to be one of the fastest drivers on the track at the moment. Although Fresh does not give way to his teammate. I think we will see D10 getting ahead down the pit straight, however. Rolling dice just gets himself ahead of Apparent, but they're still side by side. But yeah, the Ferrari does get his way ahead. But the Williams will get the DRS down into turn 1. But speaking of DRS, here comes D10 with the rear wing flap opened. He pulls to the inside. Fresh tries to defend it, even to his teammate. But he does get ahead.
Charges on.
D10 will be looking to get into that DRS window to sweat back Flame. And Fresh will probably be hoping to just use his DRS to pull along. And to put himself along. Volker's in this queue as well. He's a lap down after making a pit stop. He's just ahead of Fuzzle. But he's ghosted as well. And he goes very deep. And there's also A-Games who's just about to go a lap down to Sweatback Flame. And this DRS is going to be the thing that's saving Sweatback at the moment from the charge of D10.
Yeah, he's going to be a lucky boy.
Yeah, the DRS will only last for so long. Kyle picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits violations. But Sweatback Flame has the DRS all the way down this pit straight. He's going to be loving the fact that he's got that back marker ahead of him. Kublang losing a couple of positions there in the lower midfield. Unitos pulls back ahead of Fresh. both with the DRS. Honestly, I think Unitos might be trying to do a stop medium as Fred the pole sitter goes round at 3, goes spinning off into the gravel trap, and now he's dropped all the way down to 8th there, possibly, and even lower. So he rejoined the race now.
It'll be 11th.
Yeah, it'll be 11th. So Jay-Z goes past, and Fresnel goes off again.
On the grass. On the grass, yeah, he's on the grass now.
What's going on there with Fresh? He's going really slowly. I think he's just trying to rejoin safely. I'm not totally sure. But the back mark is still right there for Sweatback Flame. So again,
Yeah, well,
D10.
get out of the way.
He goes now, so D10. If he does it late enough, yeah, D10 does get the DRS. So even though he's not within a second to Sweatback Flame, he will get DRS down this straight, thanks to the back marker of A-Games. And that might be what saves D10's race. And saves his chances for victory here. Falcons.
High, isn't it? Swap back us to DRS. Yeah, when.
And now it's D10 that has the DRS, and that's what's pulled him within that 1 second window.
Game on.
It's just the flow of the sport. And Luke the Blade is side by side with Unitos here as well. Although he can't get the move done. He tried to go for a switchback on the exit of 5. But he just didn't have the traction compared to the Aston Martin softs. However one they may be. Now he gets DRS. He gets the rear wing flap open though. It's not enough, however, to pull to the inside into turn 10. Unitos is dropping back quickly to D10 though. He's losing
So
multiple
softs
tenths
are
per
losing
corner. I think,
Those softs are harder.
yeah, it won't be long until the Aston Martin's into the pit lane.
Sit and duck. Could get passed by both the McLaren and the Red Bull.
Here he goes. And here comes Fuzzle as well. Is he going to go for it on Luke the Blade? It looks like he might try it, but he doesn't. He does stay behind. For the time being. And now Rocky's still dealing with Vulcan a lap down. Fresh comes into the pit lane. Unitos has dropped all the way to 5th, and he doesn't look like getting back past either. It's most likely going to lose out to Rocky on this next few laps, possibly just into turn 1.
Just loses so much time though ever since
Yeah,
lap 10.
he still has that DRS to Fuzzle and Luke the Blade, but he might not for long. Although, as Vulcan is trying to pass him, that could be the saviour for his race, and yes it is. He's going to get the DRS to Vulcan this time around. Although, actually no, he's not, because he pulls into the pit lane. So it's an early stop for Unitos, lap 15. So just before half race distance. I think he's going mediums, I think, at this stage.
Because those softs wouldn't last hard. Well,
Yeah, D10 and Swearback Flame are side by side. It's the battle for the race lead. Swearback on the outside. D10 on the inside line into turn 4. They're going to be side by side. So close to contact. Mercedes versus Ferrari. And D10 on the inside. They're still side by side down towards turn 5. And he gives us the perfect view of this. And
probably loving it.
just side by side still. Sweatback still on the inside. D10 has to back out. It's Mercedes versus Ferrari. And it's the Ferrari that prevails. But D10 will not give that one up so easily. On the next lap into turn 1. Sweatback has him covered into turn 10 though. But Unitos has gone to the medium compound of tyre. So he's done. He did.
Ooh,
Yeah,
really getting that all shape bit.
He did 14 on the medium. I did. Yeah, he did 14 on the mediums. Now he's trying to do the next like 20 or so. But as D10 pulls to the inside, A much simpler move this time around. And he gets himself up into the race lead. Untos will only have to do 20 odd laps on those medium tyres, having done 14 on the softs. Jay-Z also in, most likely going for the hard compound.
Keep landing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay-Z opts for the hards. So now it's D10 out front. And we see how long can Sweatback stay in second before he gets caught by Fuzzle. Or possibly he won't, because he may be in within the next few laps. Fuzzle's got his pit light on at the moment. Possibly going to do the next 16, 17 laps on the mediums. And it'd be doable.
It's doable.
Wouldn't be great on the tyres. Like you'd always prefer to do longer on the harder compound. So no one comes into the pits this time around. Although there's a big slide from an Alfa Romeo there. That's for Falcon. He's gone into the barriers. There's a safety car. Falcon has spun into the barriers. I saw that. I tried to cut to it. But Falcon got right out of shape and spun into the wall.
And everyone reacted well.
Yeah, that's really poor for... That's really unlucky for Unitos and Jay-Z, who just pitted. Because now there's all these guys that get pretty much a free stop and get to jump him in the pits.
Yeah, super unfortunate, absolutely unfortunate, but gives the option
he
to
comes
go back on mediums.
Unitos is already on the mediums.
Jay-Z on the other hand,
yeah,
he hit hard, but
no, he stays out.
He does decide to stay out, which is fair enough.
I think he used mediums in quali.
He's going to jump a few drivers though. He gets up to P11, Jay-Z.
But I think it was a bit higher than that before the stops.
He was about, what was that, P9 I think I want to say?
Wait, in the pit stops tabs, does it show you positions lost? No, it doesn't.
Doesn't, no.
But it should. Should show you like positions when you came in versus positions when you leave.
I was aware Kyle was higher. Kyle was higher than Jay-Z, so he jumped. Was it fresh?
I'm not sure.
It was fresh, wasn't it?
Possibly. But in come all the race leaders. Yeah, understandably they're all in. And will Luke the Blade and Fuzzle still be ahead of Rocky and Unitos? I think they will, because they're still driving under Delta.
They have to. Ooh, do they though? I don't know.
I think so.
Once they go past the checkered flag, that's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure
here
out.
comes Rocky. They're not under Delta anymore.
Yeah, yeah, it's so exposed. And,
Oh, look, the Blade jumped Fuzzle in the pits as well. No, he is. He's having to brake. He is still under Delta. He jumped Fuzzle. Rocky gets ahead of Fuzzle. But it's not enough to get past Luke. So Fuzzle, I think, just had a slightly slower stop. And that's what's costing the places to Luke and then to Rocky. So Unitos down to P6 after having to pit slightly earlier. So D10 and Fuzzle get the medium compound till the end. But that will go off slightly earlier. Fresh is in for another set of mediums. A fresh set, that is. A-Games is a lap down in the safety car queue. But unfortunately, A-Games won't be able to unlap himself. Neither will Falcon. Like, Falcon's going... there's a Haas there. I think it's Jay-Z who feels he's being held up by Falcon. Fuzzle lost 2 places in the pit stops. Which would be the one to Luke the Blade and then the one to Rocky. Yeah, that's not the pit stop he would have hoped for. A-Games has got a penalty for unlapping himself, but I think a 5-second penalty for that is worth it. Because it will get him.
Get the lead lap.
Yeah, and then he might even be able to serve it as well. I doubt he'll be able to unlap himself. He'll be able to catch up if he serves it. Yeah, that's definitely worth a 5-second penalty. It's just a shame that we can't unlap him. Well, I know some leagues, like Creator Series, has a rule about where if you have a lapped car, then they ask you to pull to the side of the track, like pull off the track, and then
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah, and then you can let them go through.
That's really smart. Smart
Yeah.
idea that.
Right. Unfortunately, it's not always possible with more like public leagues. Like in Creator Series, I think it works because they know everyone in the league, and there's some really harsh penalties in there as well. Like some of the rules in there, you can get 30-second penalties if you change your setup, like after a red flag,
Ooh,
like
wow.
after a lobby restart, you can get a 30-second penalty if you change your setup.
Oof. It's crazy how they know this stuff though.
It's because
Like,
basically everyone streams, and I think if you don't stream, like, 'cause I know not everyone streams. I think if you don't, you're required to send in your footage or something.
Right, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. Like a reset to track is a 15-second penalty.
Oh.
Yeah, and changing your starting tire for a restart is 30 seconds.
God, that's insane.
Yeah.
But then, was it after 2021? Yeah, that's right. Before 2021, anyone in the top 10, if you qualified on the
If
tyres
you had
on
to
Q2,
start on your
had to stay
Q2
on-
tires.
Yeah, that's it.
I like that change. I wish they hadn't
I
reversed
like-
it.
I liked the idea. I liked that idea though because I thought it.
Like
it
it
just
encouraged more
goes
strategy
well.
in Q2.
That's it.
Like, if you imagine like the 70th anniversary Grand Prix in 2020, like Verstappen basically won the race because he managed to get through on the hards. Because there was crazy tyre wear because they went on
Yeah, nuts, isn't it?
they went on tyres a step softer. D10's just lost the lead to Sweatback.
Like, is
Under-
it? Or...
I don't know. Under safety car.
Yeah, because that's how I lost my position in Silverstone last season.
Yeah, it might have
Because
just
of
been a
the-
lag back. But now Sweatback leads.
I dropped back. Yeah, I dropped back. So that might have happened.
Safety car should be in this lap. Sweatback's confused about how he took the lead. A-Games has caught the pack, but he does have that penalty now. But I think it's worth it. No, it's totally worth it. Right, so now Sweatback Flame's controlling the restart then.
Oh well.
I think it probably won't be too long until D10 repasses him on the faster compound. But we'll see.
It helps with D10 though with the safety car restart because the tyre wear will be much less than
Yeah,
in the green
it'll
flag
be
situation.
3 laps
this is
less
gonna-
basically on the
yeah.
tyres.
It's going to help him so much to the end of the race. And the
Yeah.
grip as well.
Sweatback bolts
all the
now, and that has been a pretty good job on D10. Should hold him off for at least a lap. Sweatback accelerating into turn 1. D10, as much as he's closing, won't have enough to get past him. Rocky put and Unitos with a change of positions. Fazal has had an awful restart there, losing out to Unitos, almost a rolling dice as well. Is he going to go round the outside of 3? He doesn't quite have the grip to do that, but he switches to the inside of the Red Bull driver, but he has to tuck in. He doesn't quite have the pace. Don't think there's many people on. Alright, D10 has pulled the inside of Sweatback Flame into turn 7. Are they gonna go side by side? Yes, they are. They're so close to contact. D10 has to back out of that one.
It was a bit of a nudge. just to it. Just,
Yeah,
nothing
very,
special,
very small
just a
nudge. But
nudge.
here he goes to the outside again. Oh, Sweatback Flame. Pulled to the outside. Goes. Can he make the move stick? He can't quite. He goes right up to the edge of the track. And now, can he go all the way around the outside? Not quite. But Sweatback's got to watch his mirrors into turn 1.
He's going to be a bit of a sitting duck.
Yeah, there's no DRS at this stage yet, but D10 is faster on the straight line. And he pulls to the inside. And there's nothing Sweatback can do about that. And D10 pulls into the race lead. And Sweatback just has to try and hold on.
That's him to toss into P4 as well.
Yep. I think the mediums are helping him, even though they are more worn. Footface has got himself into a point paying position, I just noticed.
Oh yeah, go on, Footface.
So I now owes him, provisionally, owes him a Freddo.
For now, if he can hold on for another
Or
12
something
laps.
gone on with a Fresh, he's tumbling down the order as well.
Yeah, he's not been a great race,
Oh,
hasn't it?
and that's key playing off as well at turn 7.
Yeah.
That's also not been a great race for him. Sweatback Flame dropping 8/10 to D10. DRS not enabled yet, but by the end of next lap, when it does get enabled, D10 could quite likely be be over a second clear. And then look, the blade's
Looks
barely
likely.
within Sweatback's DRS range too.
It is, yeah. Unatos could catch up to them as well.
Yeah,
They're
they're all quite big gaps. Fresh retires from the
Fresh
session.
is-
Pit lane.
But pit
Okay.
lane, pit lane. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
No one in the barriers. Like, when you just see retired from the session, it should really say why they've retired. Or there should be an option to retire in the pits, and then it says, Fresh is retiring from the session.
Because
Or even just saying, is retiring versus retired. Oh, there's contact with Jamie Dodge and Hart. It's into turn 5. And Jamie Dodge losing 2 positions. He's now side by side with A-Games, who nudged him into the corner. That's a ping. That's
Yeah.
ping. There wasn't any contact on my screen.
yeah, Jamie Dodge has been suffering with internet issues
Yeah,
tonight.
He's
so
on
it's not-
hotel Wi-Fi, so he's not
Yeah,
even
that
in his
explains it.
state. I
Yeah.
think that's 7 Australian states, and he's in a different one. So yeah,
Well,
he's
there's
quite a way away.
New South Wales.
He's
there's
in
Queensland.
Queensland, I think. Whichever one Melbourne's in. He's in that one.
Queensland, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it is. And he's normally from New South Wales. Rolling Dice and Fuzzle side by side as well. Rolling Dice just about gets the move done. Although will Fuzzle be able to pull to the outside line? Yes, he does. They're going to be side by side through turn 4. Fuzzle round the outside. Can he hold off the Ferrari? Not quite. Although he does still have that little bit of overlap into turn 5. Rolling Dice slightly missed the apex, which encourages Fuzzle. But with the better exit, with the wider line, Rolling Dice gets back ahead. Or gets ahead, should I say.
It brings Kyle and Frosted Cheese into the equation, though. From that battle.
And Footface.
Go on, Face.
Frosted Cheese on the inside of Kyle goes very wide. But he stays ahead of the Aston Martin behind, 7/10 back. But Sweatback Flame will get the DRS this time around on D10. But 7/10 back, I don't think he'll have enough. Aparo picks up a 3-second time penalty. With Kyle's penalty, Footface is currently sitting P9.
Yeah, this is great for him. This is great. This is
Let
what he
him
needs.
cook.
Go on.
Oh, D10 has made a bit of a mistake on the exit of 2. And that's got encouraged Sweatback to be right on the back of him. Is he going to go to the inside? Not quite. It's a bit too far back. D10 had a bit of a lag back into 4, I think. Which almost encouraged Sweatback to go for the move. Look at the blade and Unitos dropping quite the way back. All the gaps around the field are quite significant at this stage.
Still very tight.
Mr. Business told me, like, I promised Mr. Business that if he won, I would say that Norris is better than Russell, and then I only agreed to that because I said, even if you have the pace, your internet will give out halfway through. So at this stage, of lap 13, oh, Footface is round.
Oh no!
At turn 10, Footface has gone, has spun around, and he's just rejoining the circuit all the way down in P13. Jay-Z and Mr. Business are, like, with the connection of the AlphaTauri.
Oh, swept back.
Yeah, swept back on the inside of D10, gets himself back up into the race lead. And he pulls ahead. D10 doesn't quite have the mechanical grip required. That is Fuzzle. Fuzzle's gone off. And that brings Footface back into P12. I think after penalties, he's still in a points-paying position.
He needs another
Oh,
safety
no,
car.
he's not quite there.
He needs another safety
Everyone
car.
around him could get penalties, you know. There's a chance.
Yeah, you can't lose hope.
D10 not quite enough speed to close back into Sweatback Flame. Do we have any? I'm looking for any moves. Jay-Z not quite close enough. Footface gets a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, that was his main advantage nullified. Fuzzle pulls back ahead of A-Games then. Fuzzle on his work back through the field. It makes a mistake on the throttle, and that's Hart's rejoining the track as well. Just really close to Condon. Now Fuzzle's on the inside. Can he get himself ahead? Not quite. It's so close. And Hart goes a bit deep there. Now with DRS, can Fuzzle pull ahead to the inside? I think he has the move. Yes, he does. Sweatback and D10 not quite able to go wheel to wheel, but Rolling Dice and Rocky can do so. Rolling Dice gets himself ahead. Although Rocky, can he pull to the outside? Does he have enough to make the move? Into a 5, he doesn't quite have the speed required. Rolling Dice goes very wide on the curb there, quite possibly a track limits warning. And I just noticed Unitas has tumbled down the order, possibly making quite a mistake.
Maybe
he was 5th, I think. Just behind Rocky. Maybe, no, he was just ahead of Rocky. He was 4th, just ahead of Rocky earlier. Now he's fallen all the way down there. It's not been the best last couple of laps from Aston Martin. D10 yet again in Sweatback Flames DRS. But it's not quite enough, I don't think. He disabled DRS a little way before the corner. I'm not totally sure why he'd be doing that.
I think he's just trying to preserve his URS management, trying to save it ready for the last few laps.
I don't know why you would just turn off DRS though. Like just approaching the corner.
Yeah, just trying to maybe just stay behind, make sure he doesn't get too close, and just keep the pressure on Sweatback and make him try and lose as much ERS as possible, really, and put him into maybe a position to lose, I say lose time, but exceed track limits and
make a mistake, possibly as well.
Force him into an error.
Yeah, it just confused me because it didn't look like he was close enough. Oh, Rolling Dice! Getting really loose on the rear end. Now Frosted Cheese goes through as well. They're side by side. Frosted on the inside. The two Dutchmen going side by side. Now Rolling Dice going back round the outside of 12, but he doesn't quite have the grip required. Letting him go for a switchback, which he can't quite do. A-Game's going slowly. And what I was saying with D10 is it didn't seem like he was close enough. Yeah, again, he's turned off DRS. But at the time before, it didn't seem like he was close enough. Like to have to worry about it. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's doing it on purpose.
He was right behind him, but he turned off DRS.
Oh, safety car!
Oh, what's that? I don't see any reason for that to have come out. Unless it's for A-Games going slowly.
Yeah, maybe A-Games has gone into yeah, he's pitting, he's boxed, so something's 100% happened, and that's refreshed nearly everyone's ERS then, so Alfie's probably plan is just being wiped. D10's plan is being wiped out.
Yeah. And other VSC Sweatback can just recharge his battery a bit. But then also, so can D10, so neither of them will get quite up to 100%.
I think it will be going green soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
What I hate about virtual safety cars is you can't see it. Oh, Sweatback! He sped. There's a lot of speedings there. I think it went quite late. Missed business as well. JZ and A Games. That's put Footface back into P10. So that's just handed the race win to D10. And Jay-Z retired in the pits. Yeah, Jay-Z's retired in the pits. With that drive-through, there's not really much he would be able to do.
Four drivers, like I said, Jay-Z, this business, A Games, and Sweatback.
A Games
all
as well.
conceding.
Yeah. It's Sweatback. Like, VSE restarts on this game are so tough because you don't. It tells you VSE ending, but you don't know when it's actually going to go green. That
it takes.
Like.
Yeah,
it doesn't give you a timer. It doesn't give you anything. It just says VSE ending, and then you're meant to judge when you think it's going to go green. And if you're 0.001 seconds over, then tough luck you get a drive-through. And you
thing is,
I'm
just wondering if Sweatback can he go to the end but take a penalty? Because I don't know, you know.
Think it disqualifies you.
Because you can't get a 30-second time penalty.
In real life you can, but not in the game, I don't think. It disqualifies you for unsafe drive-through. And he would need to serve.
Yeah.
It would. I think in a shorter race, it gives you less time to serve it as well. Like, because I think if you jump the start in a 3-lapper, it only gives you 2 laps to serve it, like the end of lap 1, the end of lap 2. So you don't end up serving it on the last lap.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be the same here. Like, he's got lap 30, lap 31, and lap 32 to serve it. Which is actually the normal window. So.
Looks, yeah, we'll have to. Well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, A-Game's also retiring. I think Sweatback just wants to open up that gap as much as he can. But it's going to drop him outside the points.
The Fresh is.
And Footface is going to score points.
I don't know, is he?
Yeah, because Mr. Business also has a drive-through.
What's the gap between Sweatback and... Oh, he could actually. Yeah, he could get points. Yeah, Sweatback comes in.
So, Footface and May on... Oh, Sweatback sped! Yeah, that's all over. That's all over. That's everything done.
That's going to play to Footface's hands to get a point. Solid delete. If you're hearing this, you're going to have to get a Freddo, son.
Need to go buy a Freddo. Need to head to the shop. And Hearts has gone round. And there's so many cars. Well, Mr. Business is in. Footface is into P10. He's got Sweatback ahead of him. Although Sweatback's actually far enough ahead that Footface won't have to... No, Footface won't. He's got Fuzzle right behind him. And Sweatback's too far ahead. Unless Sweatback also gets... like track limits penalty.
Yeah.
Here goes Fuzzle. And he gets the move.
No.
Yeah, it's a shame. But Jamie Dodge is also a bit too close, I think, too. My game reckons he's 2.5 seconds behind.
Yeah, he's caught up a lot. Yeah, last lap, Ben.
Last chance. Frosted Cheese is going to get that P4 then. Regardless of what happens with this potential battle, but one doesn't ensue between the two drivers. It's Kyle and Sweatback Flame going wheel to wheel. Yes, they are. They made contact in the last race, but they haven't quite They had a bit of wheel banging, but it won't have made that much of a difference. Yeah, Footbase is going to stay there. P11. It's going to fall to P12 as well. This has got so close.
After we got in.
But not close enough.
Got in.
But someone that very much did get close enough. D10's having deliberately disqualified himself from provisional pole position. He's starting P10. And he's never really looked unlikely as a favourite for the victory. As he comes into the final corner. He's half throttle over the line. Is he giving it up to Luke the Blade? No, he's not. It is D10 that wins the Spanish Grand Prix, followed by Luke the Blade, and Rocky comes home P3. Rolling Dice crosses the line P4, but it's Frosted Cheese that gets that position. Untos comes home P6. Aparo P7. Kyle P8. Sweetback Flame comes home P9. It's going to be Fuzzle in P10. And Footface in P12. Jamie Dodge P11. Mr. Business comes home P13. Keyplank P14. And then Falcon comes across the line, now a lap down. And now we just wait for Hearts. Just a little bit longer to wait. Bit longer to wait for Hearts, but once he comes around, that will be us done then for the Spanish Grand Prix. And Hearts comes home P15. Swapback says the Delta disappeared when the VSE went green. Yeah, that's not ideal. Oof, driver of the day. Could go to a lot of people. If D10 just said, can the admins just disqualify me, then give everyone a free position. Footface still wouldn't score points.
No, unfortunately not.
It was D10 who came out on top then in Barcelona, fought by Luke the Blade, Rocky, Frosted Cheese, Rolling Dice, Unitos, Aparo, Kyle, Sweatback Flame, and Fuddle rounding off the top 10. Then not scoring points is Jammy Dodge, Footface, Mr. Business, Keyplang, Hearts, and Falcon. Then not finishing was Jay-Z, A-Games, Fresh, and Mr. Cactus. I mean, driver of the day. There's been a lot of good drives there. I mean, there's D10, 10th to 1st, Rocky, 9th to 3rd, Kyle, 20th to 8th. I don't know who I want to give it to. Like,
It's tough, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, D10, like, doesn't want to be the driver of the day. I would give it to him, but instead I'll probably say Kyle, 20th to 8th.
Kyle did well.
Yeah,
Kyle did really well.
especially with how he is currently dying of an illness.
Yeah, I'm fast about. I think yeah, definitely. Driver of the day, illness, still manages to win, finish the race in the points. Yeah, fully deserved.
Yep. Well then, thank you to everyone watching the stream. Thank you to Gianuzzi for helping me out today. And we will see you tomorrow evening, same time, for Tier 1 action at the Austrian Grand Prix. Until then, good night.